Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to HR Consultants live session. First of all, a very happy Ramadan greeting to all of you and may we get the maximum blessing of Allah Almighty in this holy month. Today we are live with Victoria University, Australia, and let me introduce my guest, Mr. Sebastian, who is the Regional Recruitment Manager for Middle East, Africa, and South Asia as well. Victoria University was established in 1990, and they are the pioneer who have introduced the block model in study system, which has make the students' life easier in with respect to studies and with respect to finding their jobs. And today, in today's session, we're going to discuss about Victoria University's location, courses, entry requirement, scholarships, fee structure, accommodation, and some special arrangement with respect to COVID-19, and obviously the block model as well. Over to you, Mr. Sebastian.
Thank you very much, Faizan, for this lovely introduction, and also to everyone out there. First of all, happy Ramadan, and hopefully very peaceful Ramadan to everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here with you, all of you that are online, to follow the next hour, I guess, to talk about Australia and your study opportunities at Victoria University in Melbourne, Australia. I'm really, really happy to answer all your questions today that you might have. Just put them in the chat and Faizan and I will help you as much as we can. I have prepared a PowerPoint for you, just an introduction into the university. And I'm going to start sharing my screen and bring this PowerPoint up now. That one should be up now. Is that available? Can you see that, Faizan?
Yeah, I can see it.
Excellent. Perfect. Great. So let me talk a little bit about Victoria University in Australia to you. Victoria University is based in Melbourne. Melbourne is really one of the best study destinations, I think, in the world, and of course also in Australia. Why? Because Melbourne has been ranked for 7 years in a row the world's most livable city. That means Melbourne is safe for international students. Melbourne is affordable for international students. And of course, it's a beautiful city to study in. Victoria University is based in Melbourne. We have around 8 campuses all over the city. Okay, so depending what you study, you may either study in the city center or a little bit outside the city, which is easy to get to with Melbourne's public transport. In terms of our ranking, we're very well ranked overall. We're ranked top 2% universities in the world, which is the top 350 universities in the world. But we're particularly well ranked in engineering and in IT. And that's what might matter to a lot of the listeners out there today. At least when I do visit Pakistan, I speak to a lot of students who are interested in engineering and in information technology. In engineering, we ranked the top 175 universities in the world. That's top 1%. And we're ranked top 250 in the world in computer science. So if you're interested, especially in these subject areas, Victoria University is a really, really good address for you. The good thing about Victoria University is that we're something called a dual sector university. Dual sector means that if you don't satisfy our entry requirements for bachelor studies, you can start with our diplomas or with our pathways. If you need a foundation year, for example, we offer foundation programs as well. And I've highlighted 2 different streams here on this slide where you can see if you are interested in engineering, you could start with a diploma of engineering and then move on to the Bachelor of Engineering and then specialize in mechanical, in EEE, in civil, and so forth. And that also applies to IT. So depending on your GPA, depending on your high school results, depending on your IELTS result, we are very flexible in terms of giving you a different entry point into the university. Fees are very important, of course, when going to Australia. Our fees start at different levels. On the left side here, I've put this down for you. Diploma fees start around $12,600 per year. Bachelor fees for bachelor studies start around $25,000 per year. And master fees coursework, not research, start around $23,200 per year. These are our general tuition fees. On top of that, you can see here on the right side, we do offer international excellence scholarships to Pakistani students. And we offer these scholarships at every study level, except PhD, except research at the moment. But most students that are out there, I think, are more interested anyway in the bachelor studies or master studies. So if you're interested in that area, we offer scholarships. For bachelor studies, we offer up to $12,000 in scholarships. And for master, we offer up to $6,000 in scholarships. Okay. We automatically assess you for the scholarship when you send your application with HR consultants. So you don't have to apply separately for the scholarship. Okay. I'll talk later about what are the entry requirements specifically, but you don't need to fill out a form. Everything will be done automatically for you. To keep the scholarship at VU for the entire duration of your studies, you need to be a good student, of course. You need to achieve at least 60% in your studies. 60% is a credit, which shouldn't be too hard, hopefully, for you to achieve.
Sebastian, sorry to interrupt you at this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is 60% for all diploma, bachelor's, master's degrees, or just for diploma students?
It's for all. So always 60% CGPA. So when you do the subjects at VU, after the first semester, we look at the GPA. You will have done 4 subjects in your first semester. And if it's 60 and above, the scholarship is being offered in consecutive semesters, yes.
All right. And my second question is IELTS mandatory to get the scholarship?
Yes, so IELTS at Victoria University is mandatory for almost all students. Students who have done Pearson or Cambridge A-levels and who have studied English in their A-levels or in their O-levels and have a good score in that English subject may meet our entry requirements, our English entry requirements, and may not require an IELTS. But students who have done intermediate, HSSC, students who finished a bachelor in Pakistan, they will need an IELTS to study at Victoria University. That's right.
Okay. And what about IELTS test? And nowadays examination bodies are not conducting the IELTS exam. So is there any alternative for IELTS exam you have introduced for international students?
Yeah, so at the moment, we haven't finalized that yet. We are aware that due to the crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, a lot of test centers have closed. And we're looking at different options at the moment. There is something out there called the IELTS indicator test. There's a new test from TOEFL out there, which is called the TOEFL IBT at home test. We're looking into these options to consider these tests. What we want to make sure, though, is that the Department of Home Affairs, the student who issues the student visas, will also accept these tests. So we're in touch with the Australian government, with the department, and to find out if these tests will be accepted. So that hasn't been finalized yet. We know that students who are ready to go and who want to prepare would like to know, but I expect there will be an announcement in the next probably 1 to 2 weeks where we find a solution for the students.
All right, thank you. Please carry on.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, scholarships, please apply with HR consultants. And if you do have a good GPA, in Pakistan, you may be eligible to get one of these scholarships. I'll move on to the next slide, which is not really about the programs that we offer. It's about your studies at Victoria University in Australia. When you study at Victoria University, it will be a little bit different from other universities because we are the only Australian university that offers something called the block model of teaching. That means that at Victoria University, you only study one subject at a time. One subject at a time. How does that really work? Okay, I've made a slide about it. You can have a look here on the left. You can see block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, which is basically one semester. And on the right, you can see another block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. That's the second semester. And you can see that unit 1 is offered in block 1. Every block is a 4-week, has a 4-week duration. And in these 4 weeks, you only do one subject. So if you are an engineering student at Victoria University and you start your first year, you will do mathematics for 4 weeks. only mathematics. You don't have to worry about physics or about anything else. At that point, you only focus on mathematics. And when you're done with that, then you move on to the next subject. And this is what a teaching week for you would look like at Victoria University. You can see there that you don't have to study every day. Our block model helps you to study around 3 times a week, 3 days a week, which means you have enough time for work commitments, which are here included on the slide, or any other commitments you might have while you're an international student in Australia. Classes are 3 hours per class. There may be some tutorials, especially in engineering, some tutorials in the afternoon, but it should only be 3 days a week for you. Now, if we go back to our block model, what this means for our international students is that over 90% of our international students pass their subjects, which is really, really important when you go to Australia.
That's great.
Not passing a subject means you have to pay again for your subject. And that's something you obviously want to avoid. So 90% of our international students studying the block model pass their subjects, and 55% have a distinction or above. Distinction or above means 60% or above, right? So it's a really, really good way for you to learn better, to remember more of the things you learned during the block model. It's better in terms of achieving better grades. And it's also better in terms of these big exams, which are no longer there when you study the block model at VU. The final tests at the end of each unit are much smaller than these big exams that students are used to at the end of the semester. And that's really one of the advantages coming to VU using this block model of study. Is that clear, Faizan, or do you think there's any questions about this?
Yeah, I'm absolutely clear. I want you to pause on this slide so I can explain in my native language to all the viewers who have joined our session right now.
Thank you for that.
Okay. स्टूडेंट्स आप ये ब्लॉक मॉडल देख रहे हैं, ये ब्लॉक मॉडल सिर्फ विक्टोरिया यूनिवर्सिटी में ही फॉलो किया जाता है। ये विक्टोरिया यूनिवर्सिटी ने स्पेशली इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स के लिए इंट्रोड्यूस कराया है ताकि वो इस इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो स्टडीज के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बर्डन ना हो। Sebastian, can you please move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. आपके एक सेमेस्टर में 4 सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं। हर सब्जेक्ट्स के लिए अगर आप किसी और यूनिवर्सिटी में देखें तो आपको सारे सब्जेक्ट्स एट अ टाइम पढ़ने पड़ते हैं और 4 मंथ्स to 5 मंथ्स का एक सेमेस्टर के अंदर आप वो सारे सब्जेक्ट्स कवर कर रहे होते हैं। जबकि आप अगर विक्टोरिया यूनिवर्सिटी में स्टडी करते हैं तो ब्लॉक मॉडल को फॉलो करते हुए आपने यूनिट 1 यानी कि एक सब्जेक्ट आपने 4 वीक्स के अंदर कवर करना है। उसके बाद पूरे सेमेस्टर में वो सब्जेक्ट दोबारा आपने नहीं कवर करना। इसी तरह सेकंड सब्जेक्ट आप नेक्स्ट 4 वीक्स के लिए आप इसको कवर करेंगे, फिर थर्ड फोर्थ पे आप इस तरह जाते हैं, पर इस तरह सेमेस्टर कंप्लीट होता है, फिर आप नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर की तरफ मूव ऑन करते हैं। इसी तरह आप लोग करते हो। हम अगर सक्सेस रेशो देखें इस ब्लॉक मॉडल को अडॉप्ट करने से जो स्टूडेंट्स का सक्सेस रेशो है, पास ग्रेड जिसको हम कहते हैं, दैट इज मोर देन 90%। और इसमें जो स्टूडेंट डिस्टिंक्शंस के साथ पास करते हैं दे आर अबव 55%। दैट मीन्स कि स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं इसको इजीली अडॉप्ट कर लेते हैं और उनके ऊपर कोई ओवर बर्डन भी नहीं होता है। फॉर अ मंथ एक सब्जेक्ट 1 महीने के लिए उन्होंने पढ़ना है। Sebastian, can you move to next slide please? Thank you. और एक हफ्ते के अंदर हम देखें तो क्लासेस जो हैं वो डेली बेसिस पे नहीं हो रही हैं। आपकी मंडे को क्लास है, फिर वेडनेसडे को है, फिर फ्राइडे को है, यानी आपके पास सफिशिएंट टाइम है एक सब्जेक्ट के एक क्लास को लेके उसको रिवाइज करने के लिए। उसके अंदर आपको कोई असाइनमेंट्स मिली हैं, आपकी अगर अदर कोई इसके अलावा कोई कमिटमेंट है तो आप उसको भी इजीली मैनेज कर सकते हैं। ठीक हो गया? That's all from block model. Sebastian, please carry on.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that explanation. That was great. Great. So I started talking about the courses that we offer. I started talking about the scholarships and the fees. I talked to you about the block model. Now I actually want to talk about something else. I want to talk to you about what happens besides your studies. How can you actually be successful as an international student in Australia when you finish your studies? The biggest question I always get from students when I travel is, is there a job opportunity? Will I get a job when I finish my studies? And that's a very, very good question, because it's a big investment into your education. And at the end of your education should be an opportunity, a career opportunity. In Australia, it's not good enough just to have a good grade and finish your degree and then go out there and get a job. You need to do a couple more things while you're a student. And I want to talk to you about that now. What can you do while you are an international student at VU, apart from your studies? Where can you be involved in to professionally develop yourself and to build a network of connections that you can then use when you finish your studies? First of all, we offer amazing study tours at Victoria University. One study tour from 2018-2019 was to NASA. That was a study tour for students in science, engineering, sport, and teaching. Students were obviously selected based on their academic performance. So good students were invited to participate in a study tour to the NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Students then went to the Silicon Valley in California. What students did during these 2 weeks there was to complete workshops with industry professionals and with other students from all over the world. So they were able to use what they learned in their classroom in Melbourne at Victoria University in a practical environment. They had to build something like a rocket and launch it to Mars, theoretically, of course. They had to program a rover to navigate the Martian surface. They had to construct heat shields. So it was a really good opportunity for these students to then actually apply their knowledge with other people, with other students. In the Silicon Valley, these students then participated in entrepreneurship and design thinking workshops. Now, this is an amazing thing for somebody's resume, right? It's not just showing that you studied in Australia, you have an internationally recognized degree, but you actually participated in these amazing study tours. If you do then apply for a job later, your degree will just be one thing, but highlighting that study tour will really be the biggest thing when you apply for jobs and you pass interviews. So we offer study tours, not every year, but most of the years. And I would encourage you to keep your eyes out and your ears open and apply for these study tours. The other thing we have is called the VU Industry Mentoring. Okay, VU Industry Mentoring is not compulsory. It's not really included in your degree. VU Industry Mentoring is for any student who's really interested. And I want to give you an example here from one of our international students from Kenya. And his name is Marvin. Marvin started his Master of Project Management a couple years back at VU in 2017, right? Which is a 2-year program. In his 3rd semester, so not in his last semester, but in his 3rd semester, he signed up for the industry mentoring program, and he was connected to a mentor, and that was Jalpal Dattani, who worked for the Commonwealth Bank. And during this connection, he was able to visit Jalpa, to talk to her, to develop professionally, to develop his soft skills as well, and but more importantly, develop his network, his job network in Australia, right, in Melbourne. And at the end of his studies, Marvin was able to successfully apply for an internship with Transurban in Melbourne. And now he's actually working. At the moment, I just talked to him today again on LinkedIn. He's working as a project engineer on an infrastructure project here in Melbourne, right? And you can see that here on the slide on the right side. You can see Marvin here at the top, which is him in his workplace looking at a map. You can see him here at the bottom on the right side, which shows his mentor, Jalpa, and he was still a student at VU. And you can see him also on that picture here, which is a session for current students. This is Marvin actually coming back to Victoria University after he graduated and sharing his experience to other students, encouraging them to use VU's industry mentoring program. The industry mentoring program is available to really all areas of study that we offer. So not just the engineering, project management area, but also the business area, of course. So I highly encourage you, when you become a VU student, to use these services that we offer. Don't just study, don't just focus on your studies, don't just focus on a part-time job that you may have. Try to use all these services that we offer because they're free. They essentially are included in your tuition fees at Victoria University. Does that make sense, Faizan? Are there any questions?
Absolutely. That's great. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any screening test for these industry mentoring activities or like industrial tours?
No, there's no screening test as such. Students, the only students who can apply are students who have finished their first year with Victoria University. That's the only condition. So students who, starting their first semester cannot apply yet. They need to have finished at least 1 year of their studies, and then they're eligible to apply to these industry mentoring programs at VU. Yep.
All right.
That's the
Can a
only condition.
semester student express his interest or request you to consider his application if he has previously you can say exceptional grades? He has a high achiever in his previous studies. Will you be considering him for the industrial mentoring?
Absolutely, yeah. We would look at when the student does apply for VU, we look at the grades, of course, but once the student has started the studies at Victoria University, we are more concerned about the grades the student will achieve at Victoria University. So it's really kind of it gives every student, no matter if they were better or not so good during their studies, maybe in Pakistan, gives every student the chance to start fresh and show us that they're very, very good students. And if they are, they have very good chances to use these services here that we offer and these opportunities.
Okay, please carry on. I'm clear.
Thank you. Good. Now, Marvin is a student from Kenya. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Pakistani students at VU who have graduated, who are now one of our many alumni. And I've included a couple of screenshots here on this slide from LinkedIn. These are LinkedIn profiles. And you can see already the dominance of, students who do engineering. Pakistani students are doing engineering at Victoria University. And it's interesting when you go on LinkedIn and look up these alumni to see when did they graduate and what are they currently doing? Where are they working? Where are they in Australia? Rana here on the left did our electrical engineering degree in 2018, just 2 years ago. And he is now working as electrical engineers in Intercell or at Intercell in Melbourne. Zubair did a mechanical engineering degree in 2017, graduated, and works in air conditioning, okay? Muhammad Kaizar did the project management degree, like Marvin, the Kenyan student, and also found a job in Melbourne with, looks like a sustainable company, sustainable engineering company, environmental engineering company, Home Green Planet. And that's not where it ends. We have really a lot of examples from Pakistani alumni, VU alumni, who finished their degree, a lot of them were using, not just their studies to get into these workplaces, but to use something like our industry mentoring to get to that dream job in Australia. I'm particularly right now in contact with Karam Ali, who is from Sialkot, who did also electrical engineering degree. He now works for the biggest, or for the telecommunication provider of Australia, which is Telstra, which some of you might know. So he works as a network software specialist there. And if you keep your eyes open, if you go on our website in the next couple of weeks, there will be a story about his experience at VU, because I recently was in touch with him and asked him a couple of questions. How did he get this job? How did he become so successful after he finished his studies? So I'll share this link after. It's if you go on our website and you look for the success stories and testimonials, he will be included in this section. At the moment, we have many students, from Sri Lanka, from Kenya, from Samoa, from all parts of the world who want to share. It's really about sharing the story with you and telling you, what did they do right during their studies to then be successful after they finish their degree. And that's really what it's all about. Okay, does that make sense, Faizan?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's a
excellent.
very
Great.
positive image of Victoria University. I have a
That's good.
question.
Yes, please.
Does Victoria University have career counseling for international students?
Yes, yeah. So we have a career service center, that is part of the university, which is basically an office where students can go, book appointments. It's really up to them how they want to use that. So the Career Service Center helps students with the basic things, you know, making a resume Australian, for example, or getting a LinkedIn profile picture, you know, or getting the LinkedIn profile as a whole up to date so students can apply for jobs. That's the beginning. But then the Career Service Center also assists with, you know, our industry mentoring program. Our Career Service Center owns that industry mentoring program. And they have sessions on campus where they invite all students to go to. But students can always contact them and say, I have a specific request. I have a specific company I want to work for. You know, I want to apply for this and this job. Now, what can you do for me? How can you help me? How should I go about this? Where should I start? That's what this center is really there for. And obviously, it's a free service to all students.
Hey, that's great. Please carry on.
Excellent. Great. Now, a bit of fun, of course, at VU as well. It's not just about all your studies. It's not just about your career and your professional development. When you go to Australia, it's much more than that. It's about making friends. It's about finding friends that you would know from Pakistan maybe, or which is why we have many clubs at the university. We have an international student club. We also have recently started, it's not too old, this club. We started, I think, a year ago, our Pakistan club. And I included some pictures here. So this is just to tell you that when you come to VU, you don't have to be homesick. You will find your place. I know that it's very hard, especially in the beginning for an international student, to go to a new country, to a new city, to meet new people. Can be, yeah, not the best thing for some students. You need to really get out of your comfort zone to do that. And what's comforting is that you may want to join a club which you know, like the Pakistan club, where you can, meet people or students like you who are already a little bit further in their studies, so they can share their experience with you and what they learned, and they're maybe even sharing their job opportunities with you. And then you can enjoy all the food that you're used to, or the music, or the festivals that you're used to. So when you become a VU student, I really encourage you, please join one of our student clubs. It's a lot of fun, and it's really the best way to meet people and make friends at VU. And I've included some pictures here. On the right, you can see, we have every year our Multicultural Week, where every student that studies at VU can wear their traditional clothing, cook their traditional food, and then present it to all the other students. It's a really good day where everybody comes together from the university and celebrates, the diversity of cultures that we have at VU, but actually all over Australia.
Hey.
Excellent. Any questions regarding this club or of these things?
Yeah, I have a question. Does VU offers hostel accommodations for international students, especially for Pakistani students?
We do. So that was actually good. It was my next slide. Very good, Faizan.
Okay.
That was the next one I'm talking about. We do have a brand new student accommodation, which is just across our Footscray Park campus, which is the biggest campus.
Sebastian, sorry to interrupt you. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me? 1 second.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Please.
Perfect.
Please carry on.
Sorry about that. Okay. So regarding the student housing, or student accommodation, we do have that available to international students especially. This is a brand new housing complex, which is just across our Footscray Park campus, which is our biggest campus. So just across the street, 2 or 3 minutes away, walking distance. And this is a good opportunity for students who don't want to go on the accommodation search when they arrive. Students might arrive late, the visa might come a bit later, and they need accommodation when they arrive. When they get to the airport, they want to be picked up and then have accommodation ready. That's possible. We have that in our Uni Lodge housing. The prices start at around $172 per week. Okay, that price is for a twin share room, which includes the furniture, the electricity, the internet, the water. Everything is taken care of, so students can just move in. There are other options available as well, which are more pricey. If students want their own room, that starts around at $260 a week. It is really a good option for the beginning of the studies, I think, for some students who don't know anyone in Melbourne, or who don't want to do the accommodation search in the beginning. But what I tell every student is that after your first semester, or second semester, you have so many friends and you're going to move in with your friends. Moving in with friends, living with friends while you're studying is very, very common in Australia. That's what also Australian students are doing. They don't really live on campus like you might know that from the US in the dormitories. It's not the case in Australia. It's also more affordable to live off campus in the long run and share an apartment with other students, right? So in terms of affordability and money, which is a big concern for a lot of international students, it's good to live in your own apartment and share that with other students. But we're happy to help. Unilodge is there for you. If you cannot find something in the beginning, that accommodation is always availability for international students.
All right. And how far is the accommodation from the campus?
Yeah, so the campus is just across the street, really. It's when you see the upper picture here, that's actually taken from our campus, which is 2 minutes away. So Footscray Park is is our biggest campus. If you are an engineering student, you will study at Footscray Park, so it would be a good match for you then to stay at Unilodge maybe for 1 or 2 semesters.
Okay, great, great.
Good. Let's see what I have left in this presentation. The entry requirements. HR consultants are really the best to advise you on this. They've been working with Victoria University for a while now, and they would know our entry requirements. So I listed them here again for you. So we do accept obviously A levels, but we also accept intermediate HSSC results for direct entry into our bachelor. On the left, you can see the entry requirements here. And on the right, you can see the scholarship entry requirements, which I spoke about in the beginning. To qualify for a scholarship, you need an intermediate of 770 out of 1,100. And if you want to do a master program at VU, you need to have a bachelor degree from Pakistan with around 2.5 or 60%. That's what's required for the scholarship. Okay. And it's a case-by-case assessment. So automatic assessment applies to all applications we receive. If there is something, if you believe that you are eligible for a scholarship, that your grades are high enough, just follow up with HR consultants or who will then follow up with me directly. We can always look at your application again to find out, why you're not eligible or if you're actually eligible in the end. So please do that with your agent HR consultants. Okay.
Yeah. Sebastian, for our viewers, let me clear them one thing. Those students who are applying for Victoria University, they have to get through a process which is known as Genuine Temporary Entrant. In short form, we can call it GTE. Can you enlighten GTE requirements for international students, especially for Pakistani regions?
Yeah, so the GTE requirements, which Faizan has just said, it means genuine temporary entrant. It's a criteria that you need to satisfy when you apply for your student visa, and that includes your intentions when you go to Australia. GTE is assessed by not just by the visa officer, but also by HR consultants and by us as a university. So when we assess GTE, we basically want to know why you want to do the program. Why not a different program? What are your plans after you finish the program in Australia or in the world? What are your career plans really? Have you thought about that? Simply because we want to make sure that this is the right investment for you. Obviously, it's a lot of money to spend, and what we obviously don't want is students who come for an engineering program, for example, and say engineering is what I want to do, and then realize that's not the right thing after 1 year studying engineering. That means they would have wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. So GTE really means finding out if the program is right for the student and if the student has the support, the financial support and so forth to actually complete the program in Australia.
Okay. And how many intakes do you have for a year?
Yep, that's a good question. I haven't included that one. It depends. So for our block model, so for diploma and bachelor, we have 2 intakes per year, which is in February and July. The good thing about the block model is that we're very flexible with our intakes. So especially due to the COVID-19 crisis, it's not very clear at the moment if the travel restrictions will be lifted by July, right? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately, at the moment. But with our block model, students can start in August this year and maybe even be able to start in September. So our block model helps us to deliver different, to allow students to start at different points in time. If you are interested in a Master of Business degree at Victoria University in accounting or in business analytics or in marketing, we have 3 intakes per year: February, July, and November. So there's the November intake for all students who may not make it to Australia in July. But if you're an undergraduate student, we have these flexible intakes available.
Okay, that's great. I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you? Okay. You
Okay,
can hear me too? Excellent.
Okay. For our viewers, the whole process to apply for Australian university, especially for Victoria University, it just take 2 or 3 months. If you miss July intake, you can apply for business students, especially. You can apply for November or October intake as well.
November intake, correct.
Just let me know, is the October intake a full-fledged intake or just have some specific courses?
So the November intake, not October, it's November, only applies to students who want to do a Master of Business, a 2-year Master of Business degree, whether that's an MBA, a Master of Business in Accounting or Marketing or Management or Business Analytics. This is an intake that is available to these programs. Students who want to apply for undergraduate studies, right, for a bachelor or diploma, they need to apply for the July intake, and that means that we may be able to offer also August and September because of our block model, right? So it is for specific courses. It really depends on the course that students want to study. And if it's a package, if it's a diploma to bachelor package program, then it also really depends when and where the student wants to study. So if a student wants to study Bachelor of Nursing, for example, at Victoria University, that's a program that only starts in February every year. So there is no July intake. So again, I think that's something students can obviously find that out on our website, but the best way, of course, is to contact HR consultants and ask for advice there. They would know all our intakes and they would know where to look and find out.
Okay, great.
Correct.
In GT process, we have an interview system which is normally conducted by your Indian team. If we have short of time to catch our intake, is there any alternative way to get the interview quickly?
The team in India, so I think a lot of Australian universities have teams in India they work with. Unfortunately, we don't have a team in Pakistan at the moment yet, maybe in the future. But if there is really, a short period of time, if it takes longer than a week to get a GT interview with Victoria University, absolutely fine to contact me. Maybe I can even do the interview with you. That's also possible.
That's
I've done many GT interviews in the past, so I'm happy to do that. If a student is really keen on Victoria University and there's not much time left, we can always accommodate that. But normally the team in India does schedule GTEs within 4 or 5 business days, just also to give the student the opportunity to prepare, of course, for the interview. We're not cold calling students and saying, surprise, here's your interview today, are you ready? We're giving them the chance to make an appointment with us really and say, no, this is a good time for me, this is where I feel comfortable to do the interview.
All right. And what specifically you are looking for in interviews? Sometimes, can you explain some questions?
Yeah, look, the GT interview is really, it's really about what I said in the beginning. It's making sure that the course, that you understand the course you have applied for, that the course you have applied for is really the right course, right? It doesn't make sense to study a program which you feel like, oh, that's something that friends have told me, or I know, parents obviously have a big say in Pakistan, especially for younger students, what to study. It's really important that you know the program. So we ask a lot of program questions. It's even if you're an undergraduate student, it's important to know what happens after you, if you finish your degree. what do you have a plan in mind, what you want to do with your career. But we also understand that a student doing an undergraduate degree in Australia might not have an idea about the career compared to a student doing, master studies at Victoria University. We also understand that. So in the interview, we kind of structure it differently, for depending what the age of the student is or what they're applying for. Yeah. The other things, obviously, visa requirements are important, but a lot of students I think are quite well prepared for the interview, and I think HR consultants again is the agency here who can help with that as well if there are more questions. It's important, I would say, the last thing for the GT interview to go on our website, to not just look at your offer letter, but go on our website and go on the course page. Read a little bit about the course, maybe look at some of your subjects and so forth. That would be important too.
Okay. Okay. What are the special arrangements with respect to COVID-19? Nowadays, we have many students who have COEs at the moment, but they are not applying for their visa. So how can they join Victoria University at the moment?
Yeah. So the students who have started at VU in semester 1 and who are already in Australia, they're now studying online classes at the moment, right? So a lot of these students are at home and doing everything via Zoom, just like we're doing it here today. The students who are still in Pakistan right now, who have a COE, they cannot apply for the visa. The High Commission is not processing visas at the moment, unfortunately. And there's no indication right now when the High Commission will open again. But I keep telling this to students, if your plan is to study abroad, right, don't put everything on hold. The minimum you can do is to get your application ready, get all your documents ready. It often takes some time to get all these documents ready and send them to the university via your agent. And it goes back and forth because there's maybe something missing. Get that ready so you have that out of the way when the High Commission opens again and will process all the visas, right? For the students who have an acceptance from VU for the July intake, we may be offering online courses, online studies for the July intake, right? So if students cannot travel to Victoria University because of the travel restrictions still imposed, then students may be able to start online classes. But we're not sure about that yet as a university if we want to do this, because there's a time difference between Pakistan and Australia. Right now, here it's almost 8 p.m. And for you guys, it's in the afternoon. A lot of our classes are in the morning. So we cannot expect students to wake up in the middle of the night and do a class. And we want to really make sure that if we do introduce this, it will work for our offshore students. So that's why at the moment, we haven't made the call yet if we will allow offshore students who start in July to do the online classes. If we say no to that, then the best thing would be to defer to the next intake, to the next available intake at Victoria University.
Okay. Sebastian, let's discuss Victoria University Sydney campus. How many courses, how many intakes, what are the entry requirements if different from Melbourne campus? Let's talk about.
Yeah, so I'm just stop sharing my screen so I can see you again bigger here on the screen. So Victoria University Sydney is, it's very important to note that it is a VU campus, but it's a different application process. Okay, I'm not looking after that campus specifically. It's also not easy to transfer to VU Sydney after you have enrolled at VU Melbourne. So it's really important that you make the choice at the beginning. Do you want to study in Melbourne or do you want to study in Sydney? After that, transferring is quite complicated, unfortunately. The courses we offer in Sydney at VU Sydney are very limited. We offer accounting in undergrad and postgrad, and we offer our IT programs also in undergrad and postgrad, Master of IT and Bachelor of IT. And we offer business analytics. So everything related to data analytics is offered as well at VU Sydney. And these are the 3 programs that are available there. Also our diploma programs, so pathway programs, VU college programs, if students don't qualify for the bachelor, are also available at VU Sydney. That's correct. So
okay, is it a campus or study center?
It is officially a VU campus. It is officially a VU campus, but when you say study center, I know what you're referring to. A study center is a building in the city, and that's what VU Sydney is. So it is not a big campus. It is a city building in the CBD of Sydney, which is very central and very great and easy to get to. But it is more a city campus, I would say, where you can only study limited range of programs. So engineering, for example, and that, as you could see from our alumni stories and from a lot of inquiries we're getting, engineering is not offered at VU Sydney. That's only offered at VU Melbourne.
Okay. What if a student is in some other university and want to join Victoria University Sydney or Melbourne campus? Do you have some other scholarships for these type of onshore students?
Yeah, there are also, as far as I'm aware, there are also scholarships for onshore students available. I am personally not looking after the onshore student transfers, as my colleague is doing that, but there are also scholarship opportunities available there. Yeah, so if students have finished their bachelor degree, you know, at a university and say, now I want to do my master somewhere else, certainly we would be able to look into scholarships as well. Yeah.
Right. I guess that's all from my side. If you want
that's all from your side. I wanted to just highlight one more thing, which is when students think about going to Melbourne, there's an amazing app available for students to look at. I'll share my screen again quickly to show you this one. And it's this one here. It's called Unlock Melbourne. So it's this app on the top left here, Unlock Melbourne, and it looks like this. Okay, it's an app specifically designed for students who want to study in Melbourne. And it's really great because it shows you in a funny way what you can do in Melbourne. And most importantly, you know, what you can get for free. So a lot of freebies are available to international students in Melbourne. A lot of discounts are available. And this app shows you all of these options. So you don't have to ask people, you don't, you know, have to miss out. Before you go to Australia, I would encourage every student to download this app. It's free. Unlock Melbourne for iPhone and Android available. And this is really a good way to get to know Melbourne and all the opportunities and fun things students can do here in the city. It's an app which is not from Victoria University. It's released by Study Melbourne. But it looks really, really nice, as you can see. So I would really, encourage every student to do that if they choose Melbourne for their studies.
Excellent. That is very useful.
That's great. Are there any more questions on the chat from any students at the moment?
Not right now.
Not right now.
If you want to apply for Victoria University, you can have my WhatsApp number, which is 0346 4747 020 and 019 as well.
Yeah.
And
so
my email address is mfazan@hrpakistan.com. FAIZAN@hrpakistan.com. Sebastian, thank you so much. I'm very grateful for you for this session, especially late at night. It's almost 9 o'clock at your area.
Almost 8, yeah. It's fine. It's fun. It's always fun to do this. I've done some Facebook Lives before, and I think it's a great way to engage. Thank you so much, HR consultants, for organizing this. Really appreciate it. And Faizan, thank you so much for being here with me today and helping with this presentation. I hope it was useful to a lot of students out there on Facebook. If you're interested in Australia, then please, contact HR consultants. It's easy, I guess. You can just message and say, this is what I want to do. They'll come back to you and they will assist you with all your inquiries.
Okay, viewers, that's all from Victoria University and HR consultants. See you another time with another university. Bye-bye and take care.